So what is Western exploration? Western exploration offers an opportunity for exposure to a discovery and development story at the same time in Nevada with a high-quality management team that has demonstrated success in the past through multiple discoveries across the Americas, including El Peñón in Chile, which is approximately 8 million ounces, Mercedes in Mexico at about 2 million ounces, and last but not least, the Odyssey and East Malarctic discoveries, which were made by or partly made by our team when we were part of the Malarctic joint venture with Agnico Eagle. Our deposits, Gravel Creek, is a new discovery that was made by our company. We're up to 1 million ounces on a district-scale epithermal deposit that is very similar to some of the highest grade epithermal systems in Northeast Nevada, namely Midas, Sleeper, etc. And Dobie George is an at-surface oxide deposit of about 1 gram per ton that we are currently taking to permitting. We're just starting that process with the idea of getting into, hopefully, production and construction within the next 2 to 2.5 years. We are in Nevada, world-class jurisdiction, and not only we're in Nevada, we're right off of paved highway with all infrastructure within 8 kilometers of the site. Capital structure of the company is very tightly held, about 53 million shares in market, 72 million on a fully diluted basis. Market cap is between 50 and 55 million Canadian. Analyst coverage, Paul O'Brien at Velocity. We are currently working with another firm to provide analyst coverage as well in the near future. Tightly held on the institutional side with about 48% of the company in institutional hands. Largest institutional holders are Golconda LLC, which is a private equity group out of New York, Conwave, US Global, Europac, and most recently Libra. About 12% of the equity of the company is held by Agnico Eagle, who have participated in multiple private placements with the company. Where are we located? We're just north of Elko, about 110 kilometers on paved highway. You can see our project there in gold. We're 25 miles north of the Jarrett Canyon mine. Jarrett Canyon has produced about 9 million ounces of gold in its history. They're currently in care and maintenance, but gearing up to take advantage of these higher metal prices and put that operation possibly back in production. And between us and Jarrett Canyon is the Big Springs deposit, which was mined in the 90s by Independence Gold. It produced about 400,000 ounces of gold. Importantly, Jarrett Canyon and Big Springs are identical to our Dobie George deposit that you can see there on the far left of our property holdings. On the far right, Gravel Creek and Wood Gulch are our high-grade epithermal deposits that were discovered by our company. There is our property. You can see the road access coming in. The power line comes down that road access. We've got water wells that are permitted by the Nevada State Water Board there in white. The Dobie George deposit in blue is our oxide deposit that we're currently completed a PEA and taking through to permitting. And the Gravel Creek is our high-grade epithermal discovery. Importantly, at Dobie George, you'll notice that there is an orange shaded pattern. That is private land that we have access to. And under the PEA, we will put as much infrastructure as we can on private land. We have a robust resource base of about 1.3 million ounces of gold and almost 14 million ounces of silver, and strong leverage to both gold and silver prices given that resource base. Low cost of discovery. Our acquisition and discovery cost all in is about $25 per ounce. It is expandable. All deposits are open for expansion, and our goal by the end of 2027, when we'll finalize our permitting of the Dobie George deposit and do our first PEA on Gravel Creek, we aim to be at 2 million ounces of gold and 30 million ounces of silver. And we think that is achievable given the success we've had over the last 2 years where we've significantly increased the resource. There is past production on our site. The Wood Gulch mine was mined by Homestake from 88 to 91. They produced about 100,000 ounces of gold from a run-of-mine heap leach at about 4 gram per ton gold equivalent. That is our Gravel Creek deposit. That's our epithermal discovery. If you look on the right-hand side of the slide, you can see the new zone we discovered in 2023. We drilled it out in 2024, and it hit resource in 18 months after discovery in 2025. You can see some of the grades that have been left open along strike. There's over 1.8 kilos of silver and over 10 grams per ton gold in those veins. All of those veins are fully diluted in resource to a minimum mining width of 4 meters. The main Gravel Creek deposit on the left is over 20 meters true width with an average grade of in excess of 5 gram per ton gold equivalent. We've solved the metallurgy here. It is refractory to cyanide leaching. but it produces a very high quality, high grade concentrate. The average grade of the concentrate is over 4 ounce per ton gold and over 50 ounce per ton silver and 35% sulfide sulfur. So it produces a very good con that could be amenable to treatment at the Jarrett Canyon Mill only 25 miles away. Also, we've done metallurgy to test that con with cyanidation, and we're getting up to 62% recovery with a fine grind. So we're going to do additional test work to see if we can get silver and gold recoveries with fine grind intense cyanidization into the mid-80s. There's multiple targets for expansion, as you can see on this. In the last 18 months, we added 250,000 ounces of gold and about 5 million ounces of silver. So that gives us the comfort that within the next 18 months, we can add that 600,000 ounces of gold at Gravel Creek, plus another 15 million ounces of silver to the resource base. It has district scale potential. You can see WG is the Wood Gulch mine. It's hosted along a northeast trending fault. We discovered the Gravel Creek structure with the Gravel Creek deposit as parallel, and we've discovered a third one now called Northeast Badger there in yellow. So this offers potential to grow a resource in excess of 3 million ounces through continued exploration. Looking at our oxide opportunity called Dobie George, you can see it there in the open pit. We've drilled over 24,000 meters in that deposit. It's well defined on less than 50 meter centers with high grades in excess of 2 grams per ton right at surface. And the majority of it is in that red color, which is our indicated category. That's our layout from our PEA. You can see the open pits at the top. Those are on Forest Service land. Everything else to the south of that or to the bottom of the map is on private land. So the heaps, the crusher, everything will be on private fee land, which we have access on right now and the ability to purchase when we need it for mine development. It's a very straightforward operation, open pit, crush, stack ADR, about 68 to 70% recovery, no agglomeration required. At 7,500 tons a day, it does about 60,000 ounces a year recovered for a mine life of about 5 years. The life of mine grade at 1 gram per ton offers very significant margin to gold price. At $3,000 gold, your margin is about $75 per ton. If you look at the PEA at $3,000 gold, we demonstrated about $212 million NPV with a rate of return of about 62%. The average all-in sustaining cost life of mine is under $1,200 an ounce, and it shows operating cash flow of about $112 million a year at $3,000 gold. The estimated pre-production capital is about $115 million to get this into production. At spot gold price, our NPV rises to over $400 million US dollars. It is open at depth. We know that these Carlin deposits tend to grow at depth into the sulfide zones. We do not think Dobie is an exception. If you look at back at Jarrett Canyon started as an oxide mine with about 2 million ounces of oxide resource and has grown into a sulfide resource in excess of 7 million ounces. So this is wide open at depth for expansion below the pit and even deeper, about 600 meters below surface. Lots of exploration targets. We've got PEA all the way to conceptual targets, so we've got long-term exploration plans to continue to find additional ounces at the site. Our goals and next steps this year, at Dobie George, we filed the notice of intent with the U.S. Forest Service to start a mine plan of operations. That will be delivered to them in Q2 of this year. We've started baseline studies with Stantec Engineering. We look to complete infill drilling in the third quarter, have all of our baseline studies and permitting finished by Q2 of 2027, and have a decision from the Forest Service for an environmental permit by Q4 of 2027. At Wood Gulch and Gravel Creek, we completed a drill program last year on a new target called Thomasina, where we intersected up to 10 grams per ton gold and 300 gram per ton silver in a parallel zone. That's wide open for exploration. So it's about drill to increase that resource, again, to at least 1.5 million ounces of gold at Wood Gulch and 30 million ounces of silver. I thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please come visit our booth, sorry about that, or visit our website at westernexploration.com. Thank you.